In this tale, we encounter a king who, despite his wealth, undergoes great distress and anxiety. Determined to find inner peace, he summons a learned monk to seek his guidance. The story begins with a troubled king. He tries very hard to calm his mind, but his mind cannot find peace. He calls the great scholars of his kingdom to his palace and asks for a solution. People suggest various solutions to the king, but none of them work. One day, a person comes to the king and says there is a way to calm his mind. The king becomes very happy after hearing the person's words and tells him that if he can do it, he will give him as much wealth as he asks for. The person tells the king that he cannot calm his mind, but there is a monk who can. He is not an ordinary monk, but a highly revered one. You must meet him at least once. He will definitely solve your problem. The king asks the person, "Where can I find this monk?" The person tells the king, "A little cottage is located in the jungle, not far from here." The king, along with some of his soldiers, reaches the hermit and says from the monk, "I have heard that you are a highly advanced hermit." The Buddhist hermit ignores the king. The king thinks that maybe the monk did not hear him. The king then says again, "I have heard that you are a highly advanced hermit. Can you solve my problem?" The monk does not answer any of the king's questions. The king wonders why the monk is not giving him any answers. The king gets straight to the point. The king asks the monk, "Can you calm my mind?" Smiling, the monk asks the king, "Why is your mind disturbed?" The king says, "Well, I don't lack anything. I have so much wealth that I can't even estimate it. I have all the pleasures and comforts. People respect me. I have also made many donations. But there is just one thing missing within me. My mind remains disturbed. Even if it becomes calm, sometimes it becomes disturbed again. Can you calm my mind? I have come to you with great hope. I have tried everything else. You are my last hope." Monk replied, "Yes, I can calm your mind." The king is very pleased and asks what he needs to do. Monk smiles and says, "Come to me tomorrow morning, but remember to come alone." The king agrees and says he will come to him tomorrow morning. Monk says, "But one more thing, remember to bring your restless mind with you." Upon hearing this, the king is shocked and wonders what kind of thing he said. King says, "What did you say? Please say it again." Monk says, "Come tomorrow morning quickly and bring your restless mind with you. Make sure you haven't left it in your palace." The king thinks, "Is this person crazy?" But because the king had no other options left, he decides to give it a try. The next day, the king goes alone to Monk early in the morning and says, "I have come." Monk says to the king, "You have come, but where is your restless mind?" Monk asked, "Give it to me. I will calm it down and give it to you now." The king says, "What are you talking about? Will you be able to reach it? Even as a monk, you do not know that there is no such thing as an object that I can pick up and give to you. The mind is within me as well." The monk tells the king, "All right, sit down and close your eyes to search for that restless mind within yourself." The king closes his eyes and attempts to find his restless mind within himself. After sitting with his eyes closed for a long time, Monk places his hand on the king's shoulder and says, "Open your eyes." The king opens his eyes. The monk asks the king, "Did you find your restless mind?" The king says no. The monk tells the king, "That's all right. Try again tomorrow. Today's search was enough." The king goes back to his palace. The next morning, the king comes to the monk again and does the same thing as he was told yesterday. The king sits down, closes his eyes, and tries to find his restless mind within himself. The king sits for a long time. The monk once again places their hand on the king's shoulder and says, "Did you find your true mind?" The king speaks in a calm voice, saying, "No." The monk does not say that. The monk says to the king, "It's okay. That's enough for today. Now you can come tomorrow." The next morning, the king comes to the monk again and does the same as he had been doing for the past 2 days. The king sits down, closes his eyes, and tries to find peace within himself. This time, the Buddhist religion places their hand on the king's shoulder and he does not open his eyes. The king just sits with his eyes closed. A lot of time passes. The monk continues to sit beside the king. The whole day passes. The entire night passes, and the king, with his eyes closed, continues to search for his restless mind. The next morning, his eyes open, and as soon as the king's eyes open, he places his head at the feet of the monk and says, "I did not find my restless mind anywhere, but I did find peace that I had been searching for." Friends, just like that king, all of us are also looking for peace outside of ourselves. Peace is not found outside. Peace exists within all of us. We just need to search for it within ourselves. Thank you.